Setting up your meeting for Facebook Live. Live now.
Hey, Sierra, do you want to get started? Oop. Okay. So go ahead and say, welcome everyone to Trans Day of Visibility with Sisters. The disembodied voice that you hear is me, Jam. I don't know, Sierra, did you want to say a couple of words before we get into the video?
Yeah, sure. Just again, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Happy Trans Day of Visibility. It feels good to be visible, to be heard, to be seen unapologetically in our respective communities, not just in Pittsburgh, but around the country, around the world. Today is about us, and we deserve to be celebrated and loved and valued and appreciated. So this is what this hour and a half is going to be about.
Great, thanks so much. Okay, so I'm excited to see this video. We'll make sure that um, the volume is good. Here it goes.
I love it.
Yeah, that was great. Let me see if I can get away from this.
You usually got to exit out of that and then go
Let me
back to the
see.
slides.
Let me see if it'll.
Like press escape. Yeah, there we go.
Misha ate that ending, honey.
Okay.
Okay.
Are we still sharing my screen or should I reshare? Oh,
Yeah, reshare.
okay.
And we're going to go to the next slide.
Yeah, so I know that we have a video of our virtual reopening. Give me 1 second and I'll pull it right up.
No, right now there was another video in the slides. If you want to reshare and go back to the slides.
Okay.
There we go. So in 2010, I was struggling with homelessness, being kicked out of my home because of me transitioning. And during this time period, around 2010, I was still navigating Pittsburgh to try to find like resources that could allow me to thrive within community instead of continue to survive within the community. And I found nothing that was sustainable, like as sustainable for Black trans women at the time that could put me in a position to have my own housing, have my own income that was good enough for me to survive, within community. So Sisters PGH started out as a resource provider where I was just in a community when folks said they needed something, I'd say, go here or go here or come here. And if I have something of support, I can help you with that. It started as my apartment. When I first got my first apartment and there were trans folks who didn't have anywhere to live, even though I wasn't allowed all the time to let people live with me, I would just let them come into my place and pay the bills, rather, which was mostly sex work that I was paying my bills with, and we needed more than that. And I realized we needed more than that. It couldn't just be my apartment anymore. It had to be something that we could actually be a part of that could allow us, again, to thrive within the community and to create a space that was safe and brave for trans and non-binary people. So we exclusively serve our transgender and non-binary communities of Pittsburgh and Allegheny County through our community center that we have here, where folks can come utilize our different programs. So our logo for Sisters PGH is a tree, and I did that purposefully to understand the roots and how the roots feed the tree, and how when that tree continues to grow, it branches out into different sectors of the tree. And when I look at Sisters PGH, we didn't have limbs for a while. We just had roots, which was me. But now, through our different programs, we have begun to grow those branches. One of those being Grow to Succeed, which is a program that is ran by Marilyn Blackburn, another Black trans woman that is employed by Sisters PGH. And her program focuses around sobriety for transgender and non-binary people and how to live sober lives. We find ourselves going to try to find sobriety, and it's not safe for us in rehab facilities. Rather, that's a gender-affirming space or just staff that are not educated on trans people and have not experienced us in this space. But we know it's a need because, like Marilyn and myself, we come from drug addiction. We also have our TGNC Youth Collective, and what our TGNC Youth Collective does is organizes young TGNC folks in the community to organize around equality, around uh, inadequate medical care, around policies. The TGNC Youth Collective is continuing the nearly decade of organizing and grassroots work that I've been doing, starting our Sisters PGH just like Marcia did, which inspired me to continue moving in this work, and knowing that we can live unapologetic, that we can, break the system, CIS system, and live fruitfully through through community that we create. So it's unfortunate that our trans sisters like Marcia and Sylvia aren't here to see, what a lot of us have accomplished, to this day. And even more unfortunate that they left this earth with literally nothing. So to continue that legacy, for them, and to make sure that trans and non-binary people can not only be employed within a trans-led organization, but they can also thrive through a trans-led organization and be able to join society protected and directed in a way that makes sense out of survival. When you bring young folks and give them the tools to be creative and express their art, it's the most beautiful thing in the world, because it also teaches me, it teaches us that the world is changing right before our eyes, and seeing our young folks be able to express themselves not only in the streets, during protests, that expression, but also honing in on how powerful they are in here. And putting them, whether it's on a canvas, whether it's on a CD, whether it's however, they choose to express their art. It's just something that is so everlasting to our mission. As Sisters PGH, to put trans folks in the positions to thrive and be their best selves. So another branch at Sisters PGH is Brothers PGH, and this is a space that is directed and led by trans masculine folks to build community within the trans masculine community, and to have important conversations around things like fertility, around things like equal access to medical spaces, having the right language in medical spaces, having the right language in spaces that have been so geared to the system of particularly like cis women. So trans women experience a lot of things that cis women do, and to understand, to make it safer for trans men in these spaces, we need to really take off the female gender roles that are at play in these spaces. So that's a huge reason, why Brothers PGH is here to create that, while also providing tangible resources for trans masculine folks who need resources as well, and can access the same resources through Sisters PGH that we offer. But it was very, very important that we had the representatives of the community lead the conversation. I thought, and we think, it would have, I can't lead that conversation. I'm a trans woman. I can't lead that conversation. That's not a conversation for me. What I can do is learn. What I also can do is create this space where, or not create this space, but have this space that trans masculine folks can thrive as well. We found that drug addiction really spiked during the pandemic. And not only did it spike, those who were wanting to get off of drugs, specifically trans people, didn't have anywhere to go. Grow to Succeed came along, Marilyn came along, like our blessing, who started Grow to Succeed. And we have been serving trans folks suffering from addiction, and creating spaces for them to have virtual groups, creating spaces for them to have in-person groups, resources that they would need, a voice at a rehab they may currently be at, so they know they're not alone, and there are people here that have these same experiences as far as gender, as far as drug addiction, all these things.
What were some particular challenges of getting Grow to Succeed up and running during COVID?
Having people come together was a huge barrier, because when you're coming out of addiction, you need to be around folks that inspire you to stay clean. You need to be around folks that empower you to continue sobriety. And so I think that was like the toughest thing. And then transferring things over to virtual, because a lot of folks we were serving didn't have access to a laptop or a phone to get on a Zoom call, or so those were some some tough areas. We've run an alternative pride at Sisters PGH that we have since 2017, which has normally been outside. But this year, our TLGBTQ community was the utmost important during this pandemic because our community can be the most affected by COVID-19. So we thought it would be a lot smarter to convene a virtual space for people to be able to still enjoy Pride, understand the history of Pride, and understand the resources that are in community during a pandemic, because it's hard to try to access different spaces, let alone being trans and Black. But understanding that this space that we're creating, these folks that we have in here, you can trust them. We've vetted them. We've sat down with them and talked to them. We've talked to them about their trans competence. We've talked to them about safety. We've talked to them about barriers that trans people exist within spaces, how to train your employees. So these people that we have within this Pride virtual space and Pride spaces moving forward will be able to be an access for people within the community. It was a learning curve to take Pride, which we usually had, our parade and our music festival vendors, but to scale that down into a virtual space. But what that actually did, it opened our Pride up to people around the world. People around the world were able to join in on our Pride. And when I was looking at the numbers after our virtual Pride space had closed out, we had reached millions of people who came into the virtual space to check out the different organizations that we have in Pittsburgh, to check out what we do at Sisters PGH. We get contributions from people all over the world. The reality of that was just magical. It was just magical.
With more funding, what do you think that you guys would do with Grow to Succeed?
We would open up a rehab center and we would hire staff that are adequate to serve our community through training them, us training them to be trans competent, specifically around trans competency, but to have them come in with the experiences of also how to work within a rehab facility that is specifically for trans and non-binary people. So yeah, that's a huge goal of ours.
Pie in the sky.
Yeah.
You get as much money as you could ever dream of. Like, what are you doing? You're building a rehab facility.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're training people to be there.
Yep.
What else?
Buying more homes. I want to buy homes all over Pennsylvania, not just in Pittsburgh. I want to branch Sisters PGH out to counties, to different cities. I've already had this conversation with different community leaders, starting different branches of Sisters PGH, like Sisters Philly, for example. That's already on paper and in the works, and developing leadership and having a space down there for that. But that's what I would continue doing. I would get a space like this, a community center, and a few homes in each of those counties or cities within Pennsylvania, and continue broadening it around. So if I had the coins, that's what we would be doing.
And that's what we're gonna keep doing.
Yeah, absolutely. We're still, thriving. Yeah, we're thriving. We are. And this space is a testament of that we are thriving. So
Makes me very proud.
makes me proud too.
Okay. So I know now.
I think we're gonna do our ribbon cutting.
That's right. Yeah.
Let's see if I can share my screen. Give me a sec. Can you all see my screen?
Yeah.
Can you see my hand?
Yes.
Can you see my hand moving?
No.
Oh, start video, duh. I don't understand.
I can see you on your phone.
Device audio. Or,
Oh, no, you don't need to share your screen. You just need a video.
oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay, got it. Sorry, guys, I'm an old person. Okay. How do I turn the camera around? Oh my god. Okay, see, yeah. There we go. This is Ciara.
Hey.
Happy Trans Visibility Day.
Louder.
Happy Trans Visibility Day. We are at our brand new space. Remember, in last year we had a fire, an unrelated fire at our old space in Squirrel Hill. And after that fire, we were able to find and obtain a new home where we provided an array of different things. And we're going to talk about that when we get in. But let's get to it.
Open it up. Yay!
All right.
And we'll go here.
So chilly out there.
Okay. So this is our chill area where folks first come in, especially because of COVID. They would be sitting in this area waiting to talk to Misha to get them where they need to go in this space. We have emergency kits up here for folks that need that resource, especially during the pandemic. Folks have really been needing that. Other information that we have from our partners, so folks can utilize their spaces as well. So this is like just a common area when folks are coming in and our plant babies. So this office, our volunteers usually use this office to be able to get stuff out to community members, make care packages, fold clothes, and get folks stuff that they need. As you can see, the art installation by Ashley Hoddard. Look her up on Facebook, Instagram. She did our art installations, and we're just super grateful for that. So here we have my office. This is like cribs. Back in the day in the 90s, cribs. So this is my office. Trying to make it, feng shui as possible. This was our first donation when we first got our space in Squirrel Hill. A young lady came in and gave us this donation, a $2 bill. And this was actually the very first time our logo was created. It's been like a decade now, a little bit over. So this was it was Sisters United, but it transferred to Sisters PGH. And yeah, I try to keep my mind right with my short-term goals, long-term goals, making sure that, things are prosperous, always making sure that my accomplishments are seen and around me. It inspires me to keep going, and people mailing us and being appreciative of the work we do. This is Misha's office. It's better than my office. But this is Misha's office. Again, some more art installation pieces in here. We got Marsha P. Johnson, and this is the Marsha P. Johnson room. And yeah, it's beautiful. Misha keeps it nice, and it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Happy. So yeah. Let's see. And this here is Marsha's closet. It's a little messy. We're still putting out winter stuff for like summer and spring stuff. But this is our closet space. I'll get out of here so you can get in there and look. when people donate your clothing, this is where it goes and it gets sorted, and we give it out to community members who need it. We still take donations, clothing donations. So if you have any, feel free to connect with us, 412-297-0548. Our bathroom here, of course, we have our all gender signs. You can look in the bathroom. Right?
It's the bathroom.
Just some additional storage that we have in here. We just keep materials that we get. So this page.
We have some coats.
Yeah, oh yeah. We do our coat drives every year. And we have our coats that are in here. And we're able to get coats out to people in need during the winter, spring, summer, whenever. It's cold right now, and it's supposed to be spring. So this area is still in the works. So what's going to be happening back here pretty soon? This is going to be a library for queer books, queer and trans books, where folks can come hang out in this space. We're going to have like bean bags, lava lamps, books. We're going to get some shelves built up in here. Thank you to our partners and friends at Presbyterian.
The Commonwealth of Oakland.
For donating that time and space for us to turn this into a library, chill space. Because we need spaces where we can just exist and breathe without pressure. This is our conference room. This is where we would be having meetings if it wasn't for the pandemic. But before that and after that, soon, because we have reopened, we'll be getting back together and having some very real and prosperous conversations in here so we can continue to grow as an organization. This is where that happens. So now I'm gonna take you upstairs. And everything that you can access up here, you can access downstairs. So this space, we have a bathroom behind us. So this space is still in the works again. We're turning this into another chill spot where folks can just hang out, play Xbox, PlayStation, watch TV, just find out, again, a place of respite. So this place is going to have more seating and just more access to the space so folks can build community while they're here. This is our computer lab. So right now, we can't use our computer lab like fully because of COVID, but if folks make an appointment through our Facebook page, you can come utilize the computer lab, help or fill out your resume or get your resume completed, look for jobs, housing, those type of things. And my staff is here to support you with that. This is Marilyn's office. Ta-da! Marilyn is our lead program coordinator, Grow to Succeed. Let me get off the beginning. She's our lead program coordinator of Grow to Succeed, which focuses on sobriety for trans and non-binary people in Pittsburgh and Allegheny County. And while I'm on our programs, as we go back downstairs, we also have Brothers PGH. Brothers PGH is a program, and we got talked about in the last video, but that focuses on our trans masculine communities and non-binary communities in Pittsburgh and Allegheny County. We have our TGNC Youth Collective, which is going to be organizing and really looking into policy and legislation in our state and our city to make sure that we're continuing to be protected throughout the years through legislation and policy. And we have our non-binary virtual space that brings our non-binary community members together to have conversations that are impactful, that are unpacking, that make sense, and are led, all these programs are led by trans and non-binary people. So I'm gonna let y'all get back into Trans Day of Visibility. When I come back, we're gonna be at Project T, and I'll see you then.
Great. Thanks so much, Sierra and Misha. Yeah, so I guess we can do a little bit of community discussion if we want. I know we have, one more video that's a Project T testimonial, but I think we can do community discussion now if anyone wanted to have any conversation. I think the idea that we had today was to try to uplift any trans non-binary people that we know in our community who are really making a change. I mean, it's been great to see all the things that Sisters has been doing, and I think, of course, the organization is leading in a big way for trans and non-binary people here in Pittsburgh. But I don't know if anyone has any other person that they wanted to lift up or to say, what inspires them, or even to talk about their own accomplishments as a trans and non-binary person that they want to feel seen or heard today.
All right, I'll start. My name is Jazz, and I am trans woman. My pronouns are she and they. And one thing that I'm proud of my accomplishments is getting on my estrogen, the HRT, and I'm 1 month, almost 2 months on HRT, and I feel great. And I want to thank Sisters PGH and my cousin Marilyn for helping me to become myself. And I'm just happy, and I enjoyed the tour, and I look forward to utilizing it in the future.
Great. Thanks so much, Jasmine. That's really cool. Hmm. So I guess I can go. I don't know if I'll say anything about myself in particular. I am happy, in the past year that I think it's in the past year that I've decided that I want to be a publicly trans person. So as opposed to, an openly trans person, I'm putting myself out there and trying to make sure everyone knows that I'm a trans person, because I think, especially as somebody in our government, um, I really appreciate the the idea that there are trans people in government. We have in the past year had Dr. Rachel Levine, being this huge idol for trans people all over, but particularly people in Pennsylvania, and particularly for boring old public servants like me, who we have had trans people popping up in local government and in government, but to have a trans person be so influential in such an important time, and to really have the public service mindset that she does have, to focus on her on what she needs to do and on what she knows is right, and to do it regardless of whatever political pressures are there. I've really appreciated having another person in public service to look at, and so yeah, I think that's what I'd say.
Yes, to add on to what I said earlier, I'm happy that I am open. I am open about bisexuality and being trans, and I'm proud that I had the confidence that I told my classmates at school and also my coworkers at work. And I made sure to tell them, hey, this is what I want. You know, I don't want to be known as he, because I identify as a woman, which I am. And I feel good because I said I'm out and proud. And I'm just happy that I have a lot of support in my building.
That's great.
I'll go next. This past year has been really interesting. I've had a few career changes and not career, but job changes, and wound up here at Sisters. But I started my transition relatively quiet, just kind of like trying things out. My friends would ask me, "Hey, what's going on?" I'm like, "Just leave me alone. I'm figuring it out. Don't make me put a name on it or whatever." And then once I figured it out, it's like now I'm out there. And it's so interesting finding the community because I see people like online, but then interacting with them, particularly through Sisters, is so much more impactful because you meet so many people. Because you can feel alone. I did feel kind of alone. So whatever. It was a little enticing to kind of go stealth if possible, but I was like, that's not really my jam. Jam. So I make sure to try to be vocal. Maybe not vocal, but I just have it visible. My transness, especially today. That's Misha.
Yes. Thanks, Misha.
I can go if you want, Jam.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's a tough time right now in the country with a lot of anti-trans hate and legislation going around. But today I'm going to try to focus on the positive, and a big positive is the work that Sisters PGH does. I'm a relatively young trans person, and I'm just really thankful to be learning from someone as visible and strong as Ciora and all of the e-board, really, um, because this work is so essential and it's becoming even more essential when it really shouldn't be. But, you know, yeah, I'm really thankful for that, even amidst this kind of tough time. So hang in there, everybody.
Thanks, Drew.
Hi, Marilyn.
Marilyn.
This is my relaxed look, so don't mind it. But,
Hi, Marilyn.
hi. So yeah, so this would be my year. It would be a year and a half that I believe that I'll be with Sisters PGH, employed and everything. Um, it felt good coming into like this space, for instance, like when I was in rehab, I didn't really know what I was going to do with myself when I got out of rehab, being trans and stuff like that, getting a job and all that different stuff. So it was like I got panini on my lip, but I'm always eating. So yeah, I didn't exactly know where I was going to go. So like coming out and like, I went to my little outpatient, then I linked up with Ciara. We know each other. We know each other for years. So it was like coming into this space, she made sure I was ready. And coming into this space, I mean, I just feel very much welcome. And I'm like an opportunity of a lifetime, really, to be able to, deliver that message and help folks, you know what I mean, like myself, that are trans or non-binary and that need help with recovery and sobriety and stuff like that. Because I'm telling you now, like, it doesn't, like, people look at, like, you literally, to get a job at like somewhere, say a different place, like, cis run, I would literally have to have like 5 to 6 years clean. They really are real strict on that. But sisters seen hope in me and seen that I was serious about what I was doing and gave me this chance. So I took the chance. I'm just doing everything that I can to give back to the community, deliver that message, and let other folks know that recovery is possible, that being transgender or being non-binary, don't let that hold your recovery back, because it's scary being trans or non-binary and getting clean because you don't know where to go. Like, you go to a rehab, you might not be put in the right place or anywhere. So it's like, if you can't go to a rehab, you can't go to an outpatient, where do you go? Well, you come to Sisters, you come to Grow to Succeed, you have a place to go now. So it keeps me on my P's and Q's. I'm not a perfect person, but it definitely keeps me together, and I love it. That's all.
Thanks, Marilyn.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's great. We had a comment on the live video on Facebook, which says that this person just had a brief meeting with an Academy Award nominee in the film industry, and they're working on plans to diversify the local union. So it feels like a very big day as a non-binary and intersex person in Pittsburgh. So just wanted to read that. That sounds pretty cool. Um, yeah, I don't know if we want to keep talking about trans people that we want to uplift. I'm not sure if Siora might have just arrived at the house, if anyone wants to take a peek at it. But if not, we can continue.
Yeah, not yet. About
Not
10 more minutes.
Yeah.
I will say it's really nice
Question.
seeing people like how visible trans people are becoming, particularly like after a show like Pose that was so groundbreaking. Seeing us in media, seeing us, a lot of trans and non-binary artists are like doing their thing, and it's not so like shocking nowadays. So you see when people see trans people, so it's nice to see that it's kind of being normalized. There weren't as many of us murdered last year thanks to the pandemic, but I would like to think it's getting better. But I'm just being hopeful.
I'm curious what. Oh, Jazz, you were gonna say something.
So I was trying to find where I could watch Pose. Does
Hmm.
anyone know where I could watch that?
I
It's on
think
Netflix.
Netflix. Yeah, I think Netflix.
Yeah.
I haven't actually watched Pose. I'm curious what people, specifically if they identify as trans women, think about trans representation in Pose. Obviously, I haven't watched it, but my understanding of like the small amount of ball culture is that there's like an ultra femme or ultra mask, um, something happening there, and I wonder how does it feel like does it feel like true representation in that show, or does it feel like just the cusp, and are we just about to get to like more more rainbow of trans people, or is it a lot of very different people with different identities?
It's pretty binary there, but it was really great that the cast was all trans, or
Mhm.
the main cast was all trans. And as far as diversity, this show Euphoria has a trans girl, but I think she's non-binary as well. It wasn't delved into. She was just there,
Mhm.
which is nice that it didn't have like a sad sob story. She just showed up and she's a trans girl.
Mhm.
Um, but I would like to think that it's getting better because non-binary is being more visible as well. It's a bigger struggle, I think, than binary trans folk, but they're being more visible nowadays.
Yeah, I'm thinking about I'm trying to run through my mind of trans people that I like to lift up, but um a lot of people that I do know that I would say are like in the realm of famousness are binary. But yeah, I think we are getting to that point where people feel more able to say that they identify as non-binary. Not that non-binary people weren't there, but that now there's words for everybody, and now that they're feeling able to actually say how they feel. Yeah.
I think too, it really highlighted, you know, and specifically talking about Pose, like where we are now, and where we're headed, as a community. I'm glad the second season came out. I can't wait to binge watch it, um, on a good day. And but yeah, I think it definitely put a lot of perspective, especially for me as a Black trans woman, and having representation of like Black trans people on that platform was like powerful. because it got to teach not only like trans folks or show trans folks that we actually exist, but it also had a like representation of like family and how family dynamics with having trans children, and how that looks, like how that really looks within community, and how we need to heal that, right? How like restorative justice work needs to be done around that. So I think it opened the doors for a lot more conversations to be had. And in that same tone, I just want to lift up a few, Black trans women, and all Black trans women and Black trans folk and non-binary folk around the country. Marissa Miller, I want to lift in this space, from Trans Solutions. She's doing great work. I want to lift up Aya Davis, with Baltimore Safe Haven. They're doing great work down there. Uh, and there's just so many. When I really think about just like the transformative work around like housing and land, around the country that is happening with trans folks, it's just amazing, of how much growth we're having in that realm, and that's generational wealth like for us all. So I'll lift up some more folks. I'm just like driving right now, and I want to focus on driving. I'm 5 minutes away, so yeah, we can keep the conversation going.
All right. I would like to lift up all trans and gender non-conforming uh, youth, because I know it's hard for them right now with all the laws put in place. And I just wish I could, be there to, advocate more so that we could get, rights for the trans youth. And also big news, popular question in the news, Little Nas X, he recently made a video called Montero. I just want to know everybody's opinion on it. Like I liked the video. It was beautiful, and I feel like it had a good representation of being yourself and not being afraid of the society. And I enjoyed it very much.
What video? The one where he was giving Satan a lap dance.
Yes.
Uh,
He's great.
uh,
He's brilliant.
So I'm gonna start with yes. I loved it because if you really got into the meaning behind the video, it was because like cis het folks all the time, especially in church, are saying that we're going to hell as LGBTQ people, and the fact that Lil Nas X actually went to hell was was the best thing that we needed for 2021. It really opened the doors. I'm seeing like different churches having conversations around inclusivity of LGBTQ folks, in the church and what that looks like. So for me, that was like a bold ass statement. Like, hey, we are here. We're not going anywhere. It was just a visible statement for the community, and for Lil Nas X to use his platform to do that,
And busted wide open all the way down.
busted wide open, 12 feet down the hill. Thank you.
I think it's also really great. We just had Elliot Page come out, which was really nice to have such a high profile actor, as a trans man. And then we had my friend Goshen, what's his name? The white guy from England. Sam Smith came out as non-binary. I'm not sure that was last year or the year before, but we're having more and more high profile people come out. And then also, I'm not sure if people are jumping on the bandwagon, but use they or including they, them pronouns in their pronoun identity. I'm not sure if they're just around for fun, but it's nice that they're saying it.
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking of a couple of people that I wanted to specifically lift up but then I was also searching them on Google to make sure that they're out. So I want to definitely lift up Coley Alston, who has been working with a lot of different organizations, and has been, one of the powerhouses of Black trans activism for sure, along with Sierra over the past few years in Pittsburgh. I wanted to lift up Charlie Borowitz, who has been working with this Allegheny Health Network, and has been, a really great resource in our community for understanding what we should expect from our health providers in trans healthcare.
I'm lifting up everybody. There's so many people doing their thing on a large scale, but then also people doing things like day-to-day artists. You see these like, influencers online, which is so nice to see them just living for the most part and happy. Like they aren't, it's like not a sad thing. Like, oh my God, I'm trans, I'm whatever. It's like, no, I'm trans. I have a partner, or I have an active romantic life. I have friends, I have family. This isn't a sad life to live. So that's, I'm rooting for everybody.
I'm gonna have to watch this video.
You haven't seen it? You have to watch it.
Okay.
Can we watch? It's really good. It's so good. It's so really good, but whatever.
Hell, turn it on real quick. We got time. There was a little construction down at the bridge, and I had to go around. So I'm like 7 minutes out now.
Yeah, that got me earlier too. They could have let you know that before you got to the bridge, but
Yeah.
yeah.
And we're making good timing too, so that's good.
At the light, turn right onto Walnut Street.
It's so nice to see, this is largely new to me, but how much access we now have as trans folk. I'm not sure if it's because a city like Pittsburgh has so much medical care. Well, it doesn't mean it's good care, but there's so much access to providers, to medication. There's very little gatekeeping, which is nice. And I think that the youth, like trans youth nowadays, have it so, not so easy, but so much more access, which is nice to see, and a lot more acceptance normally. So it's just great seeing the progress.
Oh yeah, and I'll tell. There's certainly still gatekeeping happening in Pittsburgh. That's certainly still happening. And I think it's important that, even within spaces like ours and other spaces that we partner with, and that it provides that gate to stay open for folks to continue to have access to the things that they need within community, just so we get into a culture that is not a gatekeeping culture. It's like, you are welcome to like prosper as far as you want to go, as far as you need to go, within community, and have access to the resources that you need to be able to sustain. I mean, hell, it's Trans Day of Visibility, so I'm just going to say it. I mean, even with our organization, with Sisters PGH, we're the only of its kind in our region that, provides resources, and our city government should be doing a lot more, to support our organization. And that's a financial support, and we know the work that we do behind the curtains, and this work is hard. It's not easy. I wouldn't want to do anything else in this world, but the reality of it's not easy to do. And having the resources to do it, it takes a village to do that. So, I just hope we do get to a time where, that's not a thing. And, us as an organization don't have to worry about financials and having to fundraise, for everything, or, hopefully one day we'll be at a different time. And Pittsburgh still has a long way to go in that aspect. And that's just speaking from a person, I was born and raised here. So I've seen the progress. There has been some progress for sure, but just not enough. Just not enough.
Interesting you say that because I come from Charleston, South Carolina, and it's like trans people didn't exist. It seems like. Not sure if Drew you can relate to that from North Carolina, but I can't imagine starting my transition there, like the transphobia, the homophobia that goes on, but the homophobia that goes on normally, trying to be a Black trans person there while being Black. It's just a lot going on. Here it seems, as an outsider, it seems so much more access, and you can just do it and walk out and you're fine. No one's, for the most part, will bother you.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, um, coming from North Carolina, Pittsburgh does seem like this like heavenly place to transition, and I am glad I came here almost like for refuge to do that. But it definitely still has its problems. I'll always complain and call it out, but I understand it's also a model for like other cities and other towns and rural places all over the country to you know get its own sisters PGH and have um, people like Charlie and other people we've been talking about today.
What I was just thinking about in terms of visibility is, um, we do a lot of different things in to make sure that we're lifting up our community. But I realize maybe it's just what I was doing, trying to look at people who I've been admiring and who, I strive to be like, and who are very visible already. But um, being a trans or non-binary person can be, extremely trying and exhausting. And, we've said a lot of times that we're lifting up everyone, but for people who are still struggling, who are, trying to get to where they want to be, and for people who are struggling with things that society causes them to be viewed in a way that's different, like people who are struggling with drug addiction or people who have been incarcerated. I think we should, try to make a specific statement to say we're lifting them up too, and that maybe even more so, what they're doing to be themselves is what we are all striving to be and to lift up.
I just want to say, Val, did you change your hair?
I had it cut off.
Oh, okay. Congratulations.
Yeah, my hair is curly, but it's a long curl. So when it's super short, it just sticks up in all directions.
Speaking of being visible, that green is definitely eye-catching. I like it.
Okay, so why don't we have like a short video about the about somebody's experience with Project T. My name is American, which just started playing, and then I think Ciara is going to give us a view of inside Project T, so we can get an idea of what's been going on all of these months that Project T has been in creation and open. Yeah, Vil.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just after you're done.
No, I'm pretty much done.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to say really quick, is it okay? I invited a friend of mine, a trans man from Chicago, to stop in because he's never been to a TDO OV event. So I thought that would be cool. I just wanted to make sure it was okay. He applied, he like registered and everything.
Absolutely.
So I thought I'd say something.
Yeah, open to the whole TGNC community for sure.
Cool. Yeah, he's really cool. I met him through poetry stuff, so he's awesome.
Nice. All right, let me play this video. And yeah. And today, my name is Americanum, aka AG, and I am 19 years old. And today I'm going to be discussing about Sisters of Pittsburgh and the Project T.
So first, let's start off with Project T. I love the Project T. So Project T is basically a house for trans people like me that are homeless and that's either staying on the streets or just struggling to live on their own. And Project T helps you. This program helps you get on your feet into independent living and get jobbing and get where you need to get to. Like my social worker, for example, Marilyn, she's amazing. She helps schedule doctor's appointments. She helps get you ID. She's also a counselor. If you're going through stuff, she's the right person to come to and talk to about your feelings.
Great.
Oh, it was short.
It was short. It just cut off there. But yeah, that was a really cool testimonial. Oh, and we have Ciora here. I'm going to spotlight you, Ciora.
The sun's still out?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that was Amira. She got through our program, and here we are now at Project T. This is our transitional housing space for QT, BIPOC, queer, trans, Black, Indigenous people of color to come have sanctuary through our programming and everything that we do as sisters. And I'll just go in our front door here and we'll come out through the yard here. So this area is our front office space. This is where our staff usually is. Have people in the home or doing emergency care stuff. And that's this space. Try to make it. Okay. There you go. Thank you. And this is our living room area where folks just hang out, and watch TV, have community space, be family, and commune and be comfortable. I have a bedroom down here on the first floor, our bathroom here. Bathroom. And I remember when we first got this space, it did not look like this, like for those who have been following us. This was like gutted out. It was just wood. You can see through the walls. And it has really came a long way. This is our kitchen area. For obviously folks to eat. We can teach folks how to cook, just be able to be sustainable in their own house and know how to do that and budget money, buy groceries, all those good things. So this is the first floor. Our bedroom on the first floor, our handicap accessible room. So for someone who couldn't get up these steps, that room is specifically for them. This is our second floor area. We're actually going to get like a desk to put right here and put this mirror up on the wall so folks can like sit in front of that mirror, do their hair, do their makeup, whatever they need to do. And this is our bathroom area. Where folks can take care of their hygiene and do what they need to do in here. This is one of our first rooms. This room is still being put together just because no one's in here right now. But in each room, we're able to put 2 folks in a room, as you can see. And yeah, home sweet home. So we're going to be pulling this room together very shortly too. I don't want to go to your room.
I'm in that one.
Here we have our other room that is still being put together. We have nobody in here right now, so just a little storage space for stuff to go. But we're pulling this room together as well. So on the second floor up here, we can have 6 people at a time to be able to house them and get through what they need in the house. Be careful. I think that's good. I'll talk to them a little bit more. Thank you. So that's Project T. It's about like restorative justice work, making sure that trans and non-binary folks like have a place to go. I remember growing up, feeling like I had nowhere else to go, or having nowhere to go, and to now offer that in Pittsburgh, or if that's not going to be a thing, you'll always have somewhere to go, whether that's through Project T or emergency housing services that we offer as an organization. I just want to show this. I don't want to hold everyone up. We're almost at time, but we're just getting this finished as well. This is our accessible ramp. This is still very brand new. And it's looking so great. This is actually the first time I'm seeing it in person. I haven't been able to get up here. But this is so great. We plan on, having some yard furniture. I want to put some yard boxes over in the corner near our garage. It would be really great to get some yard boxes under there so we can be growing our own vegetables, at the house, and making sure that folks that we have living here are learning some horticulture, learning how to grow their own food and be sustainable. And that is the goal. So this is Project T. This is an opportunity. We do not go by the shelter model. We go by the Thrive model, and making sure that, trans or non-binary folks in need of this type of service can come here, learn the necessities to live independently, find the necessities to live independently, obtain the resources, save money, and pay it forward, right? A lot of folks that come through Project T or Sisters PGH or any of our resources, they come back to volunteer, and that means so much, to us as an organization. And I just noticed something, and I'm going to cut out after this, but I'm so happy. Our tree is starting to grow. And if you notice, like outer spaces, it was real interesting when we bought this home. Excuse me. And our logo is the tree. And this property, our property, has 2 trees that belong to us. And this is one of them. And we have another back here in the back that are on our property. So if, in essence, these trees are feeding Project T to continue to grow. And that's inspiring. If you continue just to get into the history of the work that's been done, why we have a tree for Sisters PGH, it's about the growth and the generational wealth that we're going to continue to provide. So again, this is Project T. This is Trans Day of Visibility, and we decided to be visible with equity. With equity. This is home, our home, forever. So that's me. I'll shut up and let the show go on. We're about to wrap up, I know that. So I'll just say my consultation to everyone. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining me, my team, our organization, as we grow, right? We're turning 11 years old this year, so we're still some tweens and still growing. So again, thank you for coming and have a good night.
Thank you,
And
everyone.
we can hang out for a little bit. I'll put some info up on the screen so people can know how to share our donation info and our fundraiser, but we can hang out for a little bit. Vil, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I think some people were under the impression this was lasting longer because I know some people weren't coming till like after they got out of work because it was lasting longer.
I think we're going to 7:30 and we can go for longer too. Yeah. Speaking of,
talking about coming after class or something.
okay, yeah, that's great. Yeah, I think we're happy to keep the space open, and just keep talking about our community and how we're growing and changing. Yeah, absolutely. But we'll let Sierra go because she's been.
He has enough on her plate.
Yeah, but for anyone who just joined us, we've been just talking about visibility in our community, people who we want to lift up, and anything that we're proud of for ourselves, that we want to lift up and that we're impressed for ourselves, being trans and non-binary people, what we've done. So anyone's welcome to chime into that, or we don't have to necessarily talk about that. Um, yeah, Val.
I vagued out for a second there, and I'm not clear on what we're supposed to be talking about.
Oh, I was just saying that we were talking about um, ways in which our community is visible, people that we have been thinking about in terms of we want to lift them up in the work that they're doing, but also anything in our own lives that we feel that we've accomplished as trans and non-binary people that we want to lift up.
I can lift up somebody. The
Yeah.
person I'm talking about, Tanisha Singletary,
Hmm.
is actually an amazing activist and individual. And they also have a lot of experience with traditional and indigenous farming techniques and permaculture and organic farming. So they'd be a really good resource for you. They're trans non-binary. Um, and they've been a really good friend to me over the years. And I have to credit them with not only helping me come out as non-binary, because their example really they gave me permission to be myself. They were the one who told me it's never too late to come out. It doesn't matter that you're 40 and you're just accepting this now. It's okay. Like, that was amazing for me. And they also um, did amazing things for me in terms of anti-racist. They're Black, and they answered so many stupid questions and were so patient with me while I struggled to like overcome my white privilege. And I can't say enough about the kind of person they are and how much they went over and above and beyond any obligation they ever had to educate me as their friend. Like, they were never obligated to do any of that, and they did all of it just voluntarily. So I can never say enough good about them. I highly recommend them as a person to work with.
Cool. Yeah, I never heard about that. Although I guess I haven't been in the market for like an agricultural garden person yet. Um, but it's good to know. I think I would be surprised over and over again at the number of, trans and non-binary people working here in Pittsburgh, that I could that I could call if I needed something. Like I actually, like, I was at a nail salon for whatever reason, and the person gave me a card of a contractor who was trans. Um, and I was like, perfect, because I've been looking for a contractor. Um, I feel like we'll always, find ourselves in places where we didn't expect and say, look, there's trans people here and there's trans people here. We're everywhere.
I think it's so cool. Like throughout the pandemic this past year, I feel like I've seen so many more trans people just through social media. Seeing people kind of start to come out, then come out, because you don't have people watching you. You can just kind of experiment and do your thing. And with that, I've met so many cool people, which is going to be challenging once we get back in person to try to hang out with someone across the country. But just so nice to see people out and about nowadays. And our groups, I love the groups. Not for work, but like for personal, I get something from it personally because I don't see people on Zoom other than my work comrades. So it's nice to see just other people.
Yeah, it really is. Um, I don't know why I never. Okay. Okay. I don't know why. I never expect to see other trans people, and I'm always surprised. I think maybe I spent so much time, um, not specifically being out, that there was no reason for me to necessarily know. I think a lot of people could could be trans, and we just never know, which is why I do like this event that we have every year where we can talk about it, and why I like and I recognize it's also a privilege that I have to be able to be out and open. But I like to be able to do that because if there's any one other person out there, they can see me, because I can never necessarily see anyone else. But yeah.
The first trans person I ever met was a huge influence. Like I met them and I was 18 and they were 18 and they were trans and they were out and they were in the middle of their transition and they were identifying as non-binary during their transition. They were gender fluid and they were transitioning to male. And it was beautiful, the whole transition process. And I remember focusing on their transition and the non-binary element they were going through and identifying so strongly with that at the time, but thinking that it wasn't something you could stay in because
Hmm.
the 1990s and I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. I just thought about the first visible trans person that I got to know, and it was such a weird thing. It's kind of like they're in like a bubble of my social circle. It wasn't until I moved here and like met people and actually hung out with them with a little bit more, being more informed, that I realized like how much of a community there is. It can feel like you're just out and about by yourself, and then you realize like no, it's like a little underground railroad of people.
Yeah. You ever have that experience of being out someplace and seeing someone and you can tell they're trans, but you don't obviously want to point it out because that would be incredibly rude, but you want to like give them a little high five or something?
I learned from TikTok, or no, yeah, TikTok. You do the hey, I just want to say I really like your style. And
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I'm came in while Ciara was showing us around, but hi, I'm Asher. I've so had that. So I moved from New Hampshire 6 years ago this March, and this is my second Trans Day of Visibility being out. The last one was literally I had COVID for the whole thing. um, so for me, this is huge, and the existence of sisters and brothers PGH is so huge for me because I was raised in a very, very religious background that isolated me from the existence of trans people until I was an adult. And so I am a non-binary intersex person. And for me, finding out that there were people out there who not only were trans, but like that there were people who wanted to look like I as an intersex person naturally look, just it was finding my people. Like I have spent so much time being isolated socially because I again have a mustache. I am a large broad-shouldered person, and finding these tall people with breasts and flowing hair and these gorgeous people with mustaches and just finding people that had this, I could just look at them and you can see the light shining out of you, just excitement for existence. Because for me, it came down to if I don't find my people, I'm not going to be here anymore. And so finding all of you. Sorry, I'm getting very emotional because I also just had a real big emotional discussion with my boss. The exciting thing I shared on Facebook. But yeah, And just sitting here and listening to all of you talk about your experiences, and I'm like, you're here. We're here. We made it. We're alive still, and celebrating that together. And just be, this is my first year getting to celebrate that with other people. It's like, we're here. Sorry, I'm getting really teary. Because just looking at everybody in this group, even right now, I'm just like, the fact that you exist is a miracle to me. I didn't know. And now I do. And I found my community. Yes, hugs. Very much hugs. And so getting to sit down and talk to somebody who's in the film industry today. So this exciting news. We have a big WLW project coming to Pittsburgh for the film industry. And the company doing it very much wants better LGBT representation, not just in front of the camera, but behind the camera. And one of the things I need to do, I know I'm here too. I got my tattoo this year. I don't know if you can see that, but that is my survival tattoo. And for me, getting that and being here, what I want to do to give back is sit down with the board of the local film union and get groups that represent POC, that represent LGBT. And yeah, pandemic tattoos are a thing. So we want to get groups that represent the disability community, all of these underrepresented communities in film, and sit down with the agencies, with the board, and say, look, this is not going away. We are not going away. And if you want to get in front of this, you sit down at the table with us, you bring us into the union. We will be your extras. We will be your grips. We will be your painters. But you need to sit down at the table with us and bring us on board. And that's what I want to do this year, especially with this big 6-month project coming in, is get our people representing us in the industry, because Pittsburgh is at the forefront of this. We have Amazon coming in here, we have Netflix in here. And if we can get one of the more diverse unions in the film industry, we can get ahead of this. And part of that is us getting a seat at the table. And we're right on the cusp, because the person I talked to is going to be on this project and is on board with getting me in touch with the right people to sit us down with this board and get us union representation and get us in on these projects and getting this money, getting this film industry money. Because I don't, like Ciora was saying, I don't just want to build our today. I want to build our communal future. I want us to have that money. I don't want to see us homeless anymore. And I want to see us holding down these roles and getting these jobs in the community. But part of that is getting a seat at that damn table first. and that's what I'm on the cusp of. So I got so excited when you started talking about Pose earlier, because that's one of the big reasons that companies are now realizing that, oh, POC sells, LGBT sells, people want this. And we're like, yeah, we've been here the whole dang time. Who did you think was watching movies? So I'm just very hyped about that right now. I know, right?
Yeah, it sounds great.
Sorry, I didn't mean to take over. I'm just very hyped right now. So
Oh, it's interesting.
So hyped.
It's interesting, I think when we're all able to see each other, we can be surprised at who was already there. Just through the groups I've noticed, oh, there's like a bunch of people who are trans and non-binary in film and theater. and there's a bunch of people who are in academia, and even like I was saying, seeing Dr. Levine, I'm like, oh, there's more than one of us here in public service. When we all get to come together, then we really start to build some power.
It's so great seeing her just existing, just doing her job as a trans person. Uh, Great. Who knows what that would do for the trans youth coming out? Like, oh, I can be in a higher office. I can only imagine how strong her um, like mental health is to be able to do that so publicly in Pennsylvania with all these not liberal people. But yes, I love seeing her out and about. Kind of like for me, it was it's like when you know something is an option, it makes it so much more difficult to not imagine yourself doing that. Like it was so interesting when I was growing up. I wasn't like being trans wasn't an option that I had in my future, as far as I thought. And then realizing, no, wait, I can be trans. It's kind of like, well, wait, well, I am, whatever. It's like, okay, well, now I have to, like, now I feel this incredible urge to fix this. And, I did. But thinking that as a child, like, hey, I could be a trans doctor and work, under the president. It's kind of like, okay, why would I not try to do that now? I don't know. Visibility is great.
I had a similar experience. I was raised in a very religious home. I remember asking my mother when I was 4, why can't I be both? When she said, because she saw me, I was always playing with my brothers, and I was always playing boy parts when we played make believe. And she said, you can't play boy parts, you're not a boy. And I said, why can't I just be both? She said, well, the world doesn't work that way. And I took that to heart. And for the rest of my life, up to a certain point, I felt like an imposter. I met trans people and I'm like, I'm not trans because I don't feel like a man.